Hey everybody, Dave here, Hidden Free Investing, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to go ahead and go through my complete retirement plan. So I'm going to engineer my retirement plan. I've been thinking about this for many years. I'm getting very close. If you're new to my channel, I'm looking to retire next year in April of 2022. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and kind of look at everything that I've done to plan and where I guess all my assets will end up being when I retire next year in April of 2022. Make sure the income is where I want it to be. We're gonna break all that out into the different investments and all that stuff. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started. M1 is still doing an amazing deal right now. If you do not have an M1 account and you want to open one right now, if you use my referral link, you'll get $50. I'll get $50 if you deposit $100. So that's a 50% return on your money if it's a brokerage account. Now on the IRA, if you open an IRA account, you will have to deposit $500, but that's still a 10% return. So this is the dividend portfolio overview page. We're gonna look at this first just to kind of get an idea of what the positions are as they stand right now and how much is invested in there. So right now the account is a $515,000, 231. So that generates an annual annual income of $26,886. Monthly income is $2,240. Daily income is $74. So right now the net worth sits at about $1.814 million, which I'm hoping to get up to roughly about $2 million by April of 2022 next year, assuming the market kind of can be on my side. But so let's go ahead and look at the individual portfolio. So here's the individual portfolio right here. These are all the individual positions. I have done a lot of work just in the last month on this portfolio. I've gotten rid of one position and also kind of reallocated a little bit, got out of, took some profits and stuff like that. So right now, these are basically from least to greatest. That's how they are sorted. So right now, AT&T is the least allocated stock in this dividend portfolio. So these are all the positions. So right now we got all the individual positions going up to there. And then we also have some ETFs, and we got one CEF, which is a closed-end fund. So that's BST there. So there's about 160,000 odd dollars in the individual positions, and the rest are all in the ETF / CEF. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and move over to the tool here. So, all right, this is the tools page here. I created these couple of little spreadsheets to make this a little bit easier for me. Average yield tool current, average yield tool retired. So right now, this is where everything stands on the taxable side as it sits. So I did throw the options income there. We'll talk about that here in a second. But so we got Fundrise. I just kind of guesstimated it's about 8.5% return. M1 in there. That's got RYLD. It's got what has it got else in there? QQQM and something else. BST's in there. So I just put it at 5%. Honestly, those income ETFs should generate a little bit more than 5%, but I wanted to be conservative on it. Real estate notes setting at actually at 6.9% for that account, so 6.9. And then we got stocks, so that's all the individual stocks. It's about 155,000 right now. And then we got JEPI, we got BST, VYM, DIVO, XYLD, and NUSI, and those are all current at this time. So the options income is a wild card there. I threw it in there at 12%, even though 12% should be pretty easy to get. I'm already at $36,000 of income from the options trading this year. There's still, what, 5 months? Five months left. So 5 months left. I'm still looking to generate another 20 grand this year. So that'll be a total of about $50 to $55, maybe $60,000. That is optional income. Options are optional, right? No, not really. My goal is really to have enough money, $4,000 I'd say, of income on the taxable side without the options. So if you have not seen my video on Coma Money, it's up here. Take a look at that video. I talk about the difference between options, and I talk about the difference between Coma Money and the reason why I want Coma Money to at least support all my living expenses and all that. But obviously, if you're doing options, you can generate a lot more than what the dividend portfolio is going to generate. So it is what it is. If I can generate 1% a month with the options pretty easily, then you'd have to be in something like QYLD or something like that to generate those numbers. But QYLD, in my opinion, is a lot more riskier than doing the options, but it is what it is. So we're not really going to talk about this side. We're only really doing the video on this side over here. So I basically took what I had on the left-hand side over here and then took the retirement account and threw that into, kind of broke them out into these different ETFs up here and get an idea of what things are going to look like when I retire in April of 2022. So this is kind of the breakdown I came up with. All right, so NUSI's got about $130,000 in it. QYLD, which I'm not a real big fan of, but I think in that account it might work out perfectly. We'll talk about that here near the end of the video. So QYLD, $100,000, XYLD, $100,000, DIVO, $150,000, BST, $130,000, RYLD, $100,000, JEPI, $130,000. Stocks will be all the individual positions. I'll draw those down to $150,000. We got real estate notes, which should be out about $445,000 by April of next year. M1 account should be up to about $15,000 by then. Fundrise account should be about $15,000 by then. And the options account should increase up to $500,000 because of the real estate flips. I should get that money back. Not to mention the income I'm generating from that and all that stuff. So that account should be roughly about $500,000. And I still stuck it at 12%, $60,000, and that's a wild card, like I said. So this right here on this side is both taxable and tax deferred accounts. So this is the breakout that I had in April of 2022. And that is also taking the 401k, rolling it over into an IRA. And we'll talk about the SEP here in a second. But so that is actually the allocation I'm kind of shooting for, which comes out to 8.32%. Now, obviously, the options kind of raise that up a little bit, raises the income up. So if we just took the options out, so we'll just control, what is it, X or control, what the hell it is. Let's do control X and we'll delete. All right, so if I take the options out of there, we come out to a 7% average yield across all those positions there. And then we have about, what, $103,000, $8,600 a month, $103,000 in income a year. And what that is that means that I don't have to do any options trading at all. And that's how much money I can still generate without options. So if I just want to take a break from options or something like that, then I can still pay my bills. I'm still having a lot of money coming in, and we can still outpace inflation. All right, I control Z that, brought the options back there. So I think the 12% a year in options is real easy to do. I can be super safe with that amount of money. I can just draw it back even more and still generate $5,000 a month or so. It's just extra income, right? So this is the best mix that I could come up with here to kind of have downside protection in NUSI. QYLD is a little bit, I'm not a real big fan of that ETF. I've kind of, it's kind of a declining asset in a way. It's like a Ponzi scheme in a way. But if in that account, what I think I can do is if I put $100,000 in there, it's generated $11,000 a year, I'll be generating enough income where I can actually, kind of drip, capital back into QYLD. And so I'm not too worried about it dropping. Same with XYLD, I can drip money back into there. DIVO, same thing, BST, RYLD, JEPI, all the same thing there. It gives me the ultimate flexibility here. I can also drip back into any stock that I want. I can add new stocks to the portfolio if I want as well. So I have a lot of different leeway here. As the notes get paid back, so that $445,000 there, that will all go back into these individual positions or possibly into these income ETFs as well. I don't know if I'm going to be reinvesting back into notes or not. So those are real estate notes. I did a video on it. If you want to look at that video, you can look at it up here. So I don't really know what I plan on doing those. Right now, I have no intentions of getting back into real estate notes. So that will just go into a lot of these individual positions, individual stocks. I'll be dripping even if we took the options away, that's still $103,000, about $100,000 of income. That's way more income than I need. I live on about $30,000 now, and that's living in Denver, okay? Now with this expensive apartment and all that. So that's basically more than 3 times the income that I'm generating now. Obviously, I still have to pay taxes. And obviously I don't know how all these are taxed yet. I know a lot of return on capital. Some might be short-term capital gains, and some might be long-term capital gains. But until I go through a full tax season with all these income ETFs or CEFs, I won't know fully how they're all taxed. I'm just taking it as I go. I can adjust my taxes next year after I go through a full season if I need to. What do you think of my early retirement plan? Comment below. For future videos, go ahead and like and subscribe and set that bell notification. All right, this little chart here I put together in like 2014, 2015 time frame, and I honestly got this from the 4% rule, the Trinity study, and it's been made popular by, I'd say, maybe Mr. Money Mustache. But so 4% withdrawal rate. That should last you, at this income at the top here, should last you 25 years. So $30,000, $750,000 is what you need. It'll last you about 25 years with a 4% withdrawal rate. All the way up to $55,000, you need about $1.375 million. So my withdrawal rate, I've came up with many years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago now, 3.5%. I want to be super safe with my retirement. Obviously, I will be 47 next year, so I'm not 30 like some people that retire, and they still retire on the 4% rule at 30 years old. So me being a little bit older, I honestly think I could get away with the 4% rule, probably no problem at all. But why not just make it more conservative, put it at 3.5%, 47 years old. I'd say anybody in their 40s probably should shoot for 3% or 3.5% withdrawal rate. If you're in your 30s, I'd say maybe you should shoot for 3%. And I'd say if you're in your 50s or 60s, I'd say 4% is fine. The Trinity study, honestly, is a little old. I think it was back in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, I believe. So it was when the Trinity study was done, 4% should last this long. Well, bonds were paying out a lot of money back then. I think they're paying out 8% or something like that. So 4% rule is kind of old in a way. Why not make it a little bit safer, go to 3.5%, not have to worry about it? The income really doesn't matter. I probably should extend that out to the right over here, but it is what it is. I'm going to be generating a lot more cash than what this has up here anyway. So I'll be generating, without the option, still $100,000 of income. People have, left messages, left comments, and they say, well, in 20 years, your $2 million is only be worth, X amount of dollars due to inflation. And I'm like, I made a video on my other channel about it, talking about inflation, why I'm not really worried about it. If I'm generating, let's say, take the options out of there, if I'm generating $100,000 of income, but I'm only living on $30,000 or $40,000, there's a lot of leeway there, right? And still, let's just say I have $40,000 of expenses, which I don't. How much of that $40,000 is actually going to be increased by inflation? Not all of it, right? Some things will, some things won't. So the way I look at it is inflation would have to go up way more to affect me, right? If I'm using all the $100,000 of income, then inflation would definitely affect me a little bit. Okay, now I do have a dividend CAGR. Now, obviously, some of these ETFs don't pay a CAGR. So that is a concern. I actually need to break that out probably and do a video specifically on that. If you look at my individual positions over here, we scroll over to, or scroll down and go to the right hand side. I got the CAGR broken out, and you can see that there. So like this, DIVO pays a CAGR. The Vanguard ETF, let's see, VYM pays a CAGR. We got BlackRock pays a CAGR, but I'm getting out of VYM, so that's not going to pay a CAGR because I'm going to put it in. Well, DIVO does pay one, but so all the individual positions pay a CAGR as well. So why does the CAGR matter? Well, I can kind of use the CAGR as a way to give me a raise every year to combat inflation, right? So as long as I'm outpacing inflation, the income should never decrease, right? The last two things I want to talk about here is the plan. So like I said, when I retire, I'm going to actually roll over the 401ks over to an IRA, open a new account with Schwab, And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a Rule 72T, a SEP program, okay, substantially equal periodic payments. That has nothing to do with the brokerage. And assuming that the interest rates go up or the midterm rates go up, that should generate about $10,000, $11,000 a year that I can take out penalty free. Obviously, I still have to pay taxes on it, but I don't have to pay a penalty on it. And then also on the other account, a solo 401k account, which I have as well with Schwab. What I'm gonna do with that account, as the notes get paid back, I'll start building that account out more. And what I'm gonna do with that account is probably do a Roth conversion every single year as well. And I'll probably just convert about $5,000 a year because I have to pay taxes on that, obviously. It counts as ordinary income, which means it increases your ordinary income higher, which could push you to a higher tax bracket. So I need to be careful with that. But so right now, the plan is obviously to live off the taxable side, have the options income as well, which all this cash in here is on the options account on the taxable side. I may still do options, but I'm on the tax deferred side, but it is what it is. The income ETFs kind of do that for me in a way. And then I will SEP the IRA, generate another about $10,000 of ordinary income, have to pay taxes on that. Don't have to pay any penalty, luckily. And then also the Roth conversion, so that's another $5,000, counts as ordinary income, pay a normal tax rate on that, and then throw that in the Roth, and then guess what? After 5 years, I can take that money out and obviously not have to pay any taxes on it. So I did create a Roth ladder here. If we kind of look at here, I did a whole video on the Roth ladder. You can look at that up here if you want as well. So I'll start building that Roth ladder out starting in 2022 or maybe 2023. 2023 seems more likely just because I want to keep my income super low to try to reduce the tax bracket as much as possible. If I can get down to the 15% tax bracket, no, I don't think that's possible. If I'm single, I think it's about $50,000 of qualified plus the standard deduction. So I'm probably gonna be pushed up into the next tax bracket. Unless I got married, which would push it up to $100,000, I'm pretty much SOL. So the last thing I'm gonna talk about here is, because I'm rolling that 401k when I retire over into an IRA, I'm gonna SEP that account. It's gonna stay separate. I haven't quite figured out how I'm gonna break the accounts out yet. Most likely it's gonna be a combination of XYLD, QYLD, and possibly RYLD and NUSI. So it could be a combination of all those. I haven't really decided yet. Maybe we'll do a video on that next month. But that account will be generating a lot more income than the SEP withdrawal. So if the SEP withdrawal is about $10,000 to $11,000 a year, that account's going to be generating over $30,000 of income, most likely, or close to it, I'd say. So, I don't think that I'm going to be able to draw that account down by the time I have to deal with RMDs. Obviously, the SEP goes all the way until you're 59 and a half or 5 years, or which one-ever is longer. So I'm gonna have to go to 59 and a half, and then I have all the way until 72 years old to somehow get that money out of there, which honestly, I'm not even gonna worry about that point. I'm generating enough income in there. I have to deal with RMDs apparently. So it is what it is. Let me know if you think my plan is solid or not. Would love to hear down in the comments what you think. So until next time, please go and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next video. Thanks for watching.